What's up, everybody? It's your favorite leader who can't deal with that now's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the NewAge Ultra Magnus, on loan to me, of course, from Robert D, my Legends muse, who let me so graciously borrow this. So we're gonna take a look at it and get it transformed, all that kind of stuff, but in order to do any of that, we need to take a look at accessories. He comes with some swap out hands, 2 pointing hands, 2 outreaching hands. I like this as a strategy for Legends figures. It allows for some really expressive bots without having to make them all sorts of spindly with actually engineering the joints in, so I'm a fan of this take in general. He comes with the signature side missile launchers. These are 2 pieces of plastic, white and red cast, so no paint, decent enough sculpt. They can of course plug into the side of Ultra Magnus here for your stereotypical or standard look, but they are not easy to get in and out. On the smaller Prime, you can use those missiles as forearm missiles if you so desire. The side rockets will peg in, obviously, to the Ultra Magnus shoulders, but just to give you a heads up, one goes into a peg that's already there. The other one has a little drop down that requires you to use that as you peg it in. And I'll be honest, like, yeah, that should work out fine. I'll be honest with you though, I'm not sure if you really need it, because it has this peg already, but it's included to mention, so I'll mention it. I don't know. It seems a little redundant, but it's there. He comes with 2 white rifles, both just cast in the plastic. Very nice sculpts though, to be fair. And yeah, I'll be honest with you, I haven't found a place for them to go in vehicle mode. Doesn't mean that they don't store, but I haven't personally found it. And I don't see it in the instructions, but they're not always great about showing you where to store stuff anyway, but you know what I mean. The Prime version will hold this, but it's not a great fit for either, really, but he will hold it. You can also store either gun as a backpack. The larger Magnus will obviously hold both of those and holds them much better. And then he also comes with kind of the signature Prime rifle. With this actually has some paint on it. Other than that, it's black plastic. It has this little silver deco inside of there. And once again, brilliant sculpt. He'll hold that just fine. This gun can be stored as a backpack as well. Gimmicks-wise, the ramp's lower in the back, and the doors open up on the side, which is kind of crazy. At this scale, but they do. Also inside of the Prime, there is a matrix of leadership. It will remove, as you can see, it's loose there, but it's kind of challenging to get to in the first place. There is silver and gold paint, as well as this turquoise paint as well, and then these are the pieces that actually hold it down. It's not like the kind of standard split down the center. It's just these 2 panels, which is also kind of challenging to get to. So, I mean, nice, I guess, that it's there, kind of a pain to get to. So here it is in vehicle mode. Rolls like a champ. The cab can turn. All important things for an Ultra Magnus. The truck, all the deco and stuff comes through nicely. There is some like difference in paint applications, it seems. Like if you look at like, so this is white paint over top of translucent plastic. Let me zoom in a little bit on there so you guys can see hopefully what I'm talking about. I'm trying to show it at an angle so it picks up the light just right. That's white paint over top of translucent plastic, so it comes through a little bit more vibrant. This, I'm not exactly sure why this shade seems off on this panel. And this is stuff, this isn't the type of stuff that bothers everybody, but this is the type of stuff that bothers me, like when paint doesn't line up. It just stands out to me. It's just one of those things. Like everybody has their thing, it's my thing. One of my things. I'm a particular fella. But anyway, other than that, I think it looks good. I think that the pins for the hubcaps look pretty nice. You know, it's like a smart way to kind of give an interesting look to it, so I don't really have any real issues with it. Like I said, the cab can turn, it rolls, it looks the part. You know, I wish that these like mushroom pegs maybe could be turned the other way around, and the vibrancy of the white paint here versus this blue plastic doesn't do a whole lot of favors for it. Like if you look at this piece here, that's painted and it looks beautiful. The rest of this, not so much, and it's just off-putting in regard to the rest of it that looks great. There it is next to Tiger Tracks. So pretty sizable unit. All right, so let's get him transformed. In order to release him from the from the trailer, you have to open up the legs, but at least it makes a secure fitting, which I do appreciate, because I feel like a lot of times with trailers and stuff, like, it doesn't take too much for it to come undone, like Duran Duran, we know the vibes. Okay, so we'll flip down the pelvis, and that should free all this up. Split your legs. These pieces will come down, and now there's a lot going on here, so I'm going to do my best. Slide this panel down to the bottom. It's on the bottom already. Just make it on the bottom even more. Heavy bottom, you know what I mean? Yeah, like what is wrong with me? All right, and then rotate these panels up, and they will clip over. But it feels like you're pulling them, like this one in particular, this side, because it has to clear that little tab. It feels like you're like pulling against the screw. I don't know. Be mindful. It feels like a problem waiting to happen. All right, flip the tires down, connect them in, and this has to form the foot, so just spin it until it makes a little bit of anatomic sense, and then flip it down. Open up this, and all of these components will form your overall leg. That tab there has to fit inside of that box. Easy for me to say. Why is she giving me so much grief? Oh, never mind. That piece came undone. All right, and then flip this over, flip this down, and then sort the foot out, and then you got one leg done. So hopefully I can do it a little smoother on this end. We got this panel down, we got that flipped up. We're gonna open up these, we're gonna collapse the tires, we're gonna spin the foot out, bring this down, collapse this around with the clowns from out of town, and then do what you gotta do to get this sorted. So bring that down and then bring the foot in, and there's his lower legs, but we'll spin them 180 on the thigh swivel, I think, to get them with the what you calls out, the canisters, the fuel cans here. All right, so let's get the arms out. You got to kind of open up this whole piece here and disconnect these lower sections that have the tires, because they plug into the bottom of the arm, and then just maneuver out on the shoulder and extend the arm down, and then fold the one panel in. Same for this side. We're going to free this up the best we can. Free bird, come on. All right, in the back, and then open this up here, and now you've got basically the arms done. All right, the next thing we had to do is flip this section. You can see the windows here, how they come around to the other side. So these pieces with the tires on them are connected to this piece here, which allows it to hinge in and out. They also are connected to this die-cast piece here, and that piece will move accordingly on a hinge at the bottom. And you just have to kind of maneuver it until you can clear both to bring this window around to the front. And it's hard to explain how to do it. As you can see, I had the tires facing towards me. I had the angles of these pieces facing down. The other things that we can do while we're here, these shoulders flip around 180 so that the pins are sitting, these two pins come underneath and the other two pins sit on top. And we can collapse these doors, they fold down, and then the windows fold underneath. All right, let's take this red flap, pull on it, that will expose the head. Then you can put the head back. We have to bend this chest so that these doors will fold underneath and sit kind of flush in his armpit. And then this piece swivels over top and forms the chest. All right, then we have these pieces. They have to come up and tab in, and they form like his flank Oh, shoot. There we go. There we go. And then collapse that down. Oh, I guess we should spin it first. And rotate. Did I just break it? Hope not, Robert. It looks like it just goes right back on. Yes. And then bring out these flaps, you know, and, you know, and sink the hips into the pelvis. Phew. Arms down, spin the fists. What an ordeal this little guy is. And then this just folds down, I believe. I'll get him cleaned up. We'll take a look at him. Let's talk about the figure. The one thing I will say is these flank pieces here, they do tab in, but the tabs are very shallow and have a tendency to come undone on mine. The head swivels on a ball peg, get you all the way up, and you can even hinge this back piece up a taste. Can you see that? Right there, which will get him a look down, which is pretty nice. The ears are a little warped. I don't know what to tell you. That's a bummer. The paint is silver at the eyes, and then we have red metallic on the eyes themselves, and then the blue piece is painted, as is the crest, which all looks nice. For the shoulders, universals, they're pinned here. They get you out to a little above 90 degrees with the smokestack painted silver, and most of the white, if not all of it, is painted in the upper body as well. The legs looks like flat white plastic to me. And then we get the swivel around. We have a bicep swivel right above the elbow, and the elbow has a single hinge that gets you 90 degrees. And then the wrist has a swivel as well where it pegs in, and as you can see, it has two holding hands in addition to the two we showed earlier. And then we have the turquoise paint on there as well, which looks nice. You see these flank pieces? They're not like staying tabbed in. For the pelvis, I guess we should say we have a waist swivel. We have a ridiculous ab crunch that undoes all of my flank work. And you can see that's the tab. And that's where it's supposed to hold tension. It's just not the best in that regard. But crazy ab crunch. All right, then we have hip skirts. We'll get those up and out of the way with some turquoise paint on the front. Get all of these out of the way. For ball pegs, T-jointed ball pegs, which will get you out for the full Van Damme, the full Monty, with a thigh swivel and some nice sculpted detail on the thighs as well. A little white paint down there as well. Then we have a double jointed knee that gets you the full run, so that's nice. And then for the ankles, we have an ankle tilt up, nothing really down, and an insane rocker gets you all the way around. So all of that works pretty well, all things considered. It's just these flank pieces on mine. But yeah, pretty solid. Size comparison wise, there he is with our usual suspects, the Hasbro Stunicon and the Iron Factory old school scale blaster. I was recently gifted a NewAge Megatron from Dennis. Shout out to Dennis. He actually said some other stuff as well that I'm going to use, even though he was too generous, and I said I would relieve him of the Megatron if he didn't want to sell it, but to try to get some money for the other stuff, and he was too generous and sent it all, but thank you all the same. But yeah, so I just haven't had a chance to get this guy transformed. As soon as I do, I'll start using it. I'm just a little under the gun these days, so to speak. Oh, come on. Anyway, there they are with him. And there he is with Iron Factory Tarn. So the Iron Factory stuff tends to run a little smaller, so I think this guy is probably a great fit scale-wise. Alright, so now we're going to get him ready for Ultra Magnus mode. And in order to do so, we had to basically turn his upper body into a box. And it's a lot of undoing what we've done in order to do that. So we're going to take this panel here, and this panel, flip that up. I think that's right. Flip this head down, because this forms the back, I believe, of the box. All right, so then we'll undo our ab crunch here, We'll undo these pieces. They've been dying to get undone anyway. And then we have to bring this piece around 180 because we have to get this out. And once we have that, we can spin the shoulders back to the back, flip the shoulder to the back, and then collapse this on top, all the while making sure that our section there is staying relatively in place. Just a little tricky. Back around the shoulder to the back. I don't think it matters. There you go, something like that. And then we're going to get these pieces back where they were on both sides. And flip this up again and flip this up again, so that the only thing that we've actually done is move the shoulders. It's just in order to move the shoulders, we had to do a significant amount of prep work. But now we're good. Now we'll deal with the armor, right? And anytime you have armor, it's gonna have varying degrees of success. If you do have armor, people are gonna love it, people are gonna hate it. If it's all inclusive, people are gonna love it, people are gonna hate it. There's no way to please them all in that regard. So we're gonna untab the arms from here. I'm just gonna get everything split apart for right now and untab these two pieces that are buried inside of those two pieces. You can also split the arms to kind of get this ready, and we'll set all this business over here with the wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube Magnus. And then we have this, which just splits into three pieces, and now we're ready to start working. This is the hip skirt, obviously, and then these are the legs. All right, so obviously we need this section to show, so that's pretty self-explanatory. It has to flip down, and then the side pieces flip down as well. That part's done. The legs are pretty easy. We'll take the tires, flip them down, spin them, put them back into place. That'll clear the foot. Collapse this flap and collapse this flap. And I don't think we can do... Oh, take this piece off. This is the thigh cover. Set that to the side and bring this around, and that's it. So we'll go ahead and do that one more again. Take off the thigh cover, set that to the side. I'll set that on... I'll put this, just keep it straight. And then we collapse the white and the red and the blue, and then the tires, take them down, spin them around, fold them back up, and this is good. As for this piece, we're going to fold this down. Wait, what are we doing here? We're gonna fold the chest down and then fold this piece up. Bring the shoulders around, but they have to rotate 180 towards the front. And this has to come up and collapse. Then spin that 180. Fold here, flip the hand out, rock the forearm back. So it's pretty smart stuff. We're taking this, folding that 90 degrees. We're taking the shoulder, spinning that 180. Then we're taking this and collapsing it. Then we're spinning that entire shoulder 180. And then we're folding the hand down and we're rocking the forearm back. Pretty clever stuff. All right, so let's get him armored up. Bring in this piece, 2 tabs at the bottom, go into those female slots there, and then close it up. It's a little challenging, but not the worst thing in the world. You got these pieces here. They're gonna tab into the left and right thighs. I I got a paint mishap there. That's unfortunate. Not for me, but for Robert. And then this leg just slides right in. Tab it in the back. Close it at the bottom. And we'll do the same for the other side. Slides right in. Tab at the back. Close at the bottom. And then to attach the upper body, you're just using these wings here. It's that female to that male. I don't know. We'll see. There it is. That's it. That's all she wrote. Let me get it cleaned up. Oh, that tab's not in all the way. There we go. I'll get it cleaned up. We'll take a look at it. So let's talk about them. We'll start with the head. Head sculpt is money. NewAge nails it with the head sculpts. It's on a ball peg. You get up a bit, down a bit, swivel, a little bit of a confused Magnus look. The antennae are painted, the face is painted, the eyes are painted. For the shoulders, we have basically a universal. Little limited out to the side because of the Magnus shoulders, right? But it gets you out to there. There is an additional hinge at the lower part of the arm of the bicep here, so that it actually gets you 90 degrees, which is nice. And then the swivel around, which I think we already talked about. Fair enough. Then we have an elbow. Single hinge would get you past 90 degrees. We'll back out a bit. The wrists don't swivel really because of the cut of the joint. They only go about that far. So like, and even to really properly transform, you got to kind of take it out because you see, they won't clear the surface there. So I don't know. I don't know if that's a problem or not. It's not really an issue for me, but it's worth pointing out. And I think that covers everything. Moving on to the torso, some of this red, like it feels like that part of the red is painted and then this part isn't, but it's a pretty good match. And then we have the two accents down there. We have a waist swivel and we have a little bit of an ab crunch. It tends to undo this pelvis piece, so I'm not sure if it's worth its cost. All right, and then we have hip skirts. They'll get up and out of the way. For our legs, little limited front to back, but I think more than you would ever need. And then out to the side should be no problem. I'm not crazy about all these connection points. Out to the side is no problem. Thigh swivel still there. Still a double hinge knee, but it only gets you a little bit past 90 degrees at this point because of all the armor. And then for the ankles, nothing down, nothing up, and not even a rocker. So, you know, once again, like we're making different sacrifices along the way in order to kind of get what we want. I think the best way to do Ultra Magnus is to have it be one inclusive piece, not upgrade armor. And I don't mean that in terms of G1 or cartoon or any of that stuff. It's just in terms of functionality of the piece. The stuff that's been kind of all inclusive, I feel like has been more functional than a lot of the upgrade armor parts. Also, as far as NewAge is concerned, the proportions here don't seem quite on the money to me. They're good enough, don't get me wrong, but the abdomen seems a little long to me. If you see where his arms end up landing, it just seems like a little bit off. You know, definitely because of the armor, and not hateful by any stretch of the imagination, but I tend to really, really like NewAge proportions, so it just stands out to me. Once again, with our usual suspects, to give you an idea of scale, and once again with Tarn. So I think it should work out pretty nicely, to be honest. Final thoughts wise, we'll start with the negatives, and I will say that the proportions are an issue for me. The lack of ankle rocker is an issue for me. The torso seems too long, and as you can see, even in a dynamic pose, he ends up failing quite a bit because it just can't pull it off and make it look believable because of those feet. I also think there's like some issues here regarding paint. Not only do I have some QC issues regarding paint, but in the same breath, some of the paint looks magnificent, particularly the white. Where they did paint blue, that looks great as well, but the plain blue just offsets me against the white. The transformation is super involved, and I think that's to accommodate the armor, and my issue with that is that I don't think that the armor does the figure any justice, and it probably would have been better to redesign this as just an all-inclusive thing, but they probably already had it mapped out a certain way, do the prime and blah blah blah. I get it, but I'm not sure that it does the overall figure any favors. And I think that's it. Positives wise though, once again, they nail the face sculpts. Does have a fair amount of accessories. I love the swap out hands. The articulation works across the board with the exception of those ankle rockers. It just is a big foul up. The assembly of the armor is a lot more solid than the Magic Square, which was kind of like all over the place. This guy still maintains a lot of his articulation, so that's a plus. And the armor stays intact, which is also a plus. I love the transformation of the Magnus armor shoulders and arms specifically. Like, it's just fun, fluid, kind of like magical in a way where you're like, oh my god, I can't believe they figured all this out, because it's pretty clever stuff and has that kind of masterpiece moment feeling that we talk about from time to time. Materials feel good, the build is good, and it's a decent Ultra Magnus overall, so I can recommend it. I think it is probably the best choice for a G1 cartoon-esque legend style Ultra Magnus thus far, but it's still not without issues. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching, until next time, take care.